It's that time again, folks, where I feel I need to give you an update on what's going on in the world of madness. That's right, our world. Earth. You see, something is happening globally. Geological changes. How many of you can see this? Extreme weather patterns. Earthquakes, volcanism, fireballs, all on the rise. When was the last time you were able to stand in the sun comfortably? It's hot, isn't it? These days you can't stand in direct sunlight for more than a minute without feeling your skin beginning to burn. Let me ask you a question, folks. Your cell phones, your television, your internet, the radio in your car, do they have thermometers in them? No, but that's where you get your weather report, so how do you know how hot it really is? You see, there are forces that have you fooled. They have you looking at all these strange things as if they are normal, and I am telling you it is a trick. It's a con. It's a con to keep you doing the same old thing every day. The earth is changing, but people are not. And so therefore they are getting caught in these unwanted circumstances that sometimes cost them their lives. You know, one of the most important ways to prepare for the future is to awaken yourself in the present. Realize and understand where you are, and know that before we can all live in that utopian paradise, we are going to have to face the things that are coming. We can no longer ignore this. No one can hide from this. The Earth's magnetic fields are changing. Cosmic rays are slipping through. And as a result, this has created a very terrible thing. Does anyone know what the UV index is right now? First of all, let me explain this. The UVA radiation that comes in from the sun is more than 90% of the UV radiation that gets to ground level. It has the longest wavelength of the UV spectrum. You need a little. These days you can get too much, but you still need a little. Now sometimes UVB radiation slips through. Not good. This is what causes your skin to burn. And of course, this can lead to cancerous cell growth. The ozone layer is what keeps out UVC. This will damage you right down to your DNA. So what the U.S. National Weather Service does is they use global satellites to take measurements of the stratospheric ozone levels across the country. They then take this data and the calculated angle of the sunlight to determine the strength of UV radiation at ground level. They take the calculated UV strength and adjust it at each wavelength to account for human skin sensitivity. So this gives them several different values or numbers. And they take these numbers and add them all up to give them a total UV effect. After they have done this, they need to account for ground elevation and cloud cover. The more cloud cover you have, the less UV that comes through. No cloud cover, it all gets through. The higher the ground elevation, the higher the intensity of UV. Once they have calculated the elevation and cloud cover values, they take those two numbers and multiply them by the total UV effect. They can now take this new calculation and divide it by 25 to give them a number anywhere between 0 and 15, which makes up the UV index scale. Keep in mind, this scale does account for the level of damage to your skin, but not for the damage to the rest of your body. So there are about 5 levels to this scale, divided by color. Green is 0 to 2, which is low. Yellow, which is 3 to 5, is moderate. Not too much to worry about. Orange is a 6 or 7. That's high. This is where you need to consider wearing protective clothing, a hat, maybe some sunglasses. You want to stay in the shade and limit your time out in the sun between the hours of 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. Now, when the index level is in the red, that's not good. This is from 8 to 10, and that is very high. This is where your skin really starts to burn and eye damage is likely. You'll know when this level is in the red because that's the color your skin will turn when you're out in the sun. Definitely cover your skin and definitely wear sunglasses and a hat if you plan on being in the sun for some time. If, for some reason, the index level reaches 11 or above, that purple area of the scale, all bets are off. All precautions must be taken. Don't even go outside, your skin could burn in just a few minutes. And keep in mind, if you're around any bright reflective surfaces like snow, your UV exposure is increased. Anything in that light purple area of the scale, near 15, well, that's called living in hell. Are you with me so far? This was the UV index of the US on July 22nd of 2017. And according to the forecast, this doesn't change much for the next few following days. I'm telling you folks, it's going to get to the point where people are not going to be able to go outside during the day without some kind of sun umbrella. They're going to be like vampires because they won't be able to let the sun touch their skin. So what we can gather from this information is that we are in trouble. And if you think we can just keep on keeping on with maps that look like the one I just showed you, think again. That's not temperature, that's UV radiation, mixed in with all the other radiation we create ourselves. And if you want to talk about temperature, so far this is the second hottest year on record, right behind last year. In fact, we've been hitting record-breaking global temperatures for the past 3 years. So what's happening? What's happening with the sun? What's happening with the earth? What's happening with our solar system? They are going through changes. People's bodies are going through changes. And these changes that are going on around us will increasingly change people physically and mentally. Why? Well, that's what electromagnetism does. People are concerned about EMPs and electronics. Screw that. Your brain is an electronic. It has circuitry. Your nervous system has circuitry. The Earth's magnetic field, the magnetosphere, it has been progressively weakening, and they have been finding cracks in it, opening and closing, holes. Has anyone ever heard of magnetic stimulation? Transcranial magnetic stimulation, or TMS? This involves using a device that can deliver a magnetic pulse to the brain. And what this does is it weakens the electrical currents in the brain, causing its cells to malfunction. Now, neuroengineers have been able to use this technique to treat PTSD, OCD, bipolar disorder, and depression, so it does have some benefits to those who suffer from these disorders. But let me tell you what magnetism can do to the brain. In your head, in your brain, you have billions of neurons. Neurons that communicate with each other across synapse connections that come and go. When you are able to alter these connections, you alter the mind of the person. For example, the temporoparietal junction, the spot right behind and above the right ear, is apparently the area of the brain that controls your moral reasoning. Well, that reasoning is lost when you hit that area with a very short and fast magnetic pulse. What do you think this can do to your memory? Well, magnetism can either improve it or destroy it. Think about what happens when you take a hard drive and run a high-powered magnet across it. It wipes the drive clean, doesn't it? Some of the side effects of magnetic stimulation to the brain include nausea, headaches, muscle spasms, seizures, speech disorders, bleeding of the brain, mood changes, delirium, mania. Mania, folks. So imagine this. Let's say there is this giant magnet in space, and this giant magnet comes close to our sun, close to Earth, Mars, and the other planets. tugging on their magnetic fields. In a worst case scenario, how do you think that would affect our brains? Think about it. A bunch of dumb, drooling, out of control people with no morals. Sounds similar to a zombie apocalypse, doesn't it? You see, you're going to start to witness more and more people go crazy. They're going to do things that you didn't think they would do, and you're going to wonder why. And it is not going to get any better or stop until whatever is happening to our solar system stops. And I am just talking about magnetic fields. I haven't even discussed the changes in electrical energy yet. The increase in static, deadly lightning storms. So the questions are, when is this going to be a problem, and how do we protect ourselves from these developing circumstances? Well, when it comes to timing, these changes have already begun. You don't have to bother looking for dates. You know, people are still following dates. It's amazing. They want to know what's going to happen September 23rd. What? Again with this crap? Folks, stop looking at dates. You want to know what's going to happen? Nothing. They give you these dates on purpose to confuse you. They've been saying something is going to happen on September 23rd for the past 3 years, and you keep buying into it. These dates are garbage. Leave them alone, they mean nothing. And it shouldn't matter because you didn't prepare. You were not prepared for something to happen on September 23rd. You were not prepared last year or the year before that. And you sure as hell weren't prepared for 2012 when it came and went, so stop it. Stop looking at dates. One of the ways to prepare for the future is by not knowing it. You don't know what's going to happen, so you either prepare for nothing or you prepare for everything. You've all seen them, doomsday preppers. You see, people have been watching too many movies, because in real life cataclysms, you can't stay where you are, and when you are on the move, you can't always keep what you have. Yeah, they have these backyard bunkers. Guess what? That's only going to protect you against animals, people, and maybe some bad weather. It's not going to protect you against flooding. It's not going to protect you against earthquakes or nuclear fallout. You have to be at least 200 feet deep, along with a method for maintaining oxygen levels in fallout conditions. So getting back to one of the questions at hand, what can we do about harmful electromagnetic frequencies that are currently and potentially harmful to us? Is there anything we can do to protect ourselves? To a certain degree, yes. The first thing is, you have to start protecting your body from the electromagnetic radiation that is already affecting you. Namely your cell phones, tablets, and laptops. You know, these things cause a whole host of diseases. You need to start keeping these electronic devices around your home away from your body and unplugged as much as possible. Which is hard for most people, I get it. You know, there is something called earthing. This will help you to ground your body to lessen the effects of EMFs. This is simply walking on the earth barefoot. When was the last time you did that? As free radicals or positive electrons build up in the body, walking on the earth barefoot in moist grass, or on the beach, or sleeping on the ground, the negatively charged electrons will stabilize the positively charged electron buildup, reducing chronic pain and inflammation. You get better sleep. Remember, the earth is magnetically charged, and when you sleep close to it, it amplifies your healing factor. Because of the lack of sun exposure these days, you're going to need to supplement your body with nutrients such as vitamin D3, iodine, melatonin, selenium, zinc, and foods such as asparagus, cinnamon, dates, prunes, broccoli, cranberries, blueberries, just to name a few. There are foods that can make you more resistant and more resilient to the effects of what's happening, folks. I think we need to start paying better attention to our environment and learn more about these invisible threats. But more importantly, we are going to have to do something besides just wait it out. I would love to walk around like these people who believe everything is normal with this everybody's gonna die someday attitude. But we can no longer afford to ignore what's happening to our planet. Updated, accurate information about our planet's current state needs to be readily available to the public so that people can decide for themselves what choices to make on the future of their existence instead of others. There is a world of information out there at our fingertips, folks. There's no excuse. We must educate ourselves. And we must face this fear. And then, and only then, can we conquer it.